Hello. Before we begin, growing up, I've always been told that I'm a man of many different voices. So here I am today, taking on the voice of a woman. 2 words. Today I'm going to talk about just 2 words. These 2 words have brought me here today. People around me follow these 2 words, and they've led me to this journey. I've gotten to learn that these 2 words, and it's helped me get to where I am today. I've seen other people follow these 2 words, and they've made their mark. The 2 words are, go deaf. I know you're a little puzzled. You're like, a deaf guy talking about going deaf. Don't worry. My name is Skip Flanagan, and today I'm going to teach you all how to go deaf. So really, I have to start with my parents. When my parents found out that I was deaf, we were in Connecticut. My parents tried to figure out the best school to put me in, how to raise me, that the best they knew how, and how to take care of me. So my mom started making a couple of calls all over the country. So let me wind my phone up over here. This is before you all were born. We were using these type of phones. So we're winding it, and she's calling all different types of people, executives, experts, doctors, professionals, people who knew supposedly how to take care of deaf children. And there weren't any positive phone calls for the most part. Most of the conversations ended with the following sentences. I wasn't going to be able to read past the 4th grade reading level. I wasn't going to contribute to society. I wasn't going to function. I'm worthless. I'm better off just tied to a tree and to just be fed dog food. That was the nicer way to put it. And my mom had every right to just accept that. These people were on the phone. They were the experts in deaf education. She could have just shrugged and accepted it and just bit the bullet. But what did my mom do? She went deaf. She took what they had to say and went the other way with them. She responded with, over my dead body, along with a few other choice words. We're from Boston, so you know. Right, Mom? Around that time, I was growing up a little bit. I was ready to join sports. So it was my dad's turn. Let me crank up our old phone over here again. And he called our hometown to sign me up for sports. So he says, I want to sign up my son for some different sports like basketball, soccer, baseball, hockey. And during the middle of the conversation with the other guy, my dad mentions that, my son is deaf. And the guy on the phone says, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And he hung up on my dad. My own hometown, they wouldn't let me participate because I was deaf. I had a better chance of playing the violin than playing sports there. After that, I grew to be a very good athlete. And it was time for me to go to college. So that's when RIT came into the picture. I came here and I started to play college baseball. And do you know the saying, a big fish in a small pond? Well, I got to RIT and I was a very, very, very small fish in an ocean. So to sum it up, my first year, I sucked. Bad. One game that I pitched in, I gave up 12 runs in the first inning before I got the first out. At the plate, I was 0 for none for the entire weekend. And that was the first time that I really started to doubt myself. I said, what am I doing here? Why do I deserve to be on this team? I couldn't carry my own weight. I couldn't hit my own weight. I really couldn't do anything. I was worthless. I should have just given my uniform back to the coach. And that was the first time that my thoughts really took over. I was scared to go to practice. I didn't want another bad day at practice, and I was happy when games got canceled. So one Tuesday practice, our head coach was on a recruiting trip, and the assistant coach took over and ran practice. That Tuesday afternoon was the worst practice of my life. We showed up to practice ready, and the coach told us, just leave your gear aside, your gloves and bats, just lay it right there on the side. So we all sat on the bench. And, we weren't having the greatest season at that point. So we all got up, and we sat there on the bench. And we started running for first base, and then we'd run, and then we'd come back and sit on the bench again. And the coach would ream out player by player, one by one. Then when we're done with that, then we would run again. We'd come back, and then he would yell to the next person. So we would run from first, second, third, outfield, back and forth until he was done yelling at everyone. So I went through the entire team, and then finally it was my turn. So coach got in my face, and he said, you this and you that. I'm going to spare and try to take out some of the bad language of this. But basically what he said was I was no good. It was my own fault. I let all of the negative thoughts get the best of me. I'm wasting my gifts, and I'm screwed for the next 3 years. He said that it was nice of him to keep my spot on the team, but that was the basic gist of it. That night, I really couldn't sleep. Coach, I was restless. I could not sleep at all. And, Coach wasn't wrong. He was absolutely right. Every word was right. He didn't mean to insult me. He was just making a point. I did let my own personal thoughts and emotions get the best of me. How I lived and how, I operated every day. So restless all throughout the night. And finally the sun comes up. And after a long night, I'm thinking about what my family did to help me get here. My mom went deaf on people to give me a better education. My father went deaf on people to give me a better chance to play sports. So there's a pattern going on here. My mom went deaf, my dad went deaf, so why wouldn't I just go ahead and do the same thing? So that's what I did. I went ahead and I went deaf on my own thoughts and emotions at that moment. After that, everything seemed to have fallen in place. The next 3 years weren't so terrible. It wasn't a waste like the coach had said. I appreciate him a lot more now. There was definitely a method to his madness back then. So sure enough, my college baseball career was over. But I knew I wasn't done. I wanted to play at the next level, and I wanted to play professionally. So I bought some tickets down to fly to different pro camps, trying to sign up on a different team. So I flew to Ohio, I drove to Kentucky, and that camp in Kentucky was the best camp I ever participated in. I played out of my mind against top-level competition. I played well. I felt good. After camp, one of the scouts emailed me this. This is his evaluation, saying, Skip has an average arm, average defense, he's an average hitter, an above average runner. And people who know me know that that is an absolute blatant lie, a horrific lie. The terminology that the scout used, it was a nice way to say that I wasn't going to cut it. It meant that I had no shot, He didn't even take the time to write out the full sentences with the full words. So you think I listened to this guy? You bet your ass I didn't. So I went, quote unquote, deaf again. So sure enough, I went to go play pro ball up in Maine. So once I got to Maine, it was a completely different world. My first paycheck actually was $55, and I felt like a millionaire though. In college, you focus more on the brotherhood, camaraderie, your personal development, and so on. In pro ball, it's every man for themselves. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of competition. So if you had a bad couple of games, you're going to be packing your bags. So when I was in pro ball, I had 18 teammates come and go. But one thing that I actually did notice was that the best players that stayed did the same thing every afternoon at 2 o'clock. I know it seems weird, but they went deaf. So I'll explain a little bit more, but there's the media, the news station, journalists, social media, fans, your own teammates, coaches, the front office, and all these people giving you a hard time. It's a very negative environment. You're fighting for your job every day. So it's hard to really stay positive. The best players show up every day, shrugging everything off, like, yeah, so what? They walk in saying, my face was on the front of the local newspaper saying that I lost the game. And there's a huge picture, but yeah, whatever. They all went deaf on the stuff going on in the media. And I was fortunate enough to really follow them around and learn from that. So I made it through the season. Next, I flew out to California. I played 1 month in the middle of the desert. And eventually I realized, I wasn't going to make it to the next level. So I decided to go back to school. Of course, I graduated from RIT. I went to University of Washington, and I came back to RIT to work as the NTID Athlete Development Program Coordinator. I've been working with a really cool group of kids from all over the world. An example of going deaf that really resonated with me was when I got back here to Rochester. I was expecting to mold the young minds, to teach them and, send them off on their ways. But it was really the other way around. They taught me a lot more than I would have anticipated. This student right here, his name is Otto. He's from Sweden, and he kind of just sort of fell onto our laps. He runs cross country, and his nickname is the Martian, coming out of absolutely nowhere, and promptly became All-American. So this past fall, I went to go watch one of his races in Houghton, New York. The whole race course was a little bit over 5 miles long, and Otto ran the entire thing under 25 minutes. So let's see, if my 4th grade education, is going to prove myself right, it means that he ran a 5-minute pace the entire time, a 5-minute mile pace. So, and I was just standing past the finish line, but this is what he looked like. He ran across the finish line, put his hands on his knees shortly, and just grabs a cup of water. He says, "Hey, what's up?" Acted like nothing happened. So I saw him the following week. I was in the gym myself, trying to run on the treadmill, trying to get into shape. Why am I doing it to myself? I don't know. And Otto actually walks in, and he starts laughing at me on the treadmill, and I say, "Otto, how do you do it? How do you run the sub 5 mile pace for more than 5 miles? And he looks great. He looks just like this. He looks fine. Looks great in this picture. And he explained that it really wasn't that hard. When he's running hard and his body starts to hurt, everything in his mind really just goes quiet. He literally just went deaf on his own body and thoughts. So, that got me thinking. I was like, how can I find a way to make things go quiet in my own head? So personally, I just use 4 lines from the song Silent Night. And I know it's ironic. I'm deaf and I use music, but I really just use the words as a way to quiet things down. The song goes, "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright." And when I do that, everything just really goes quiet. And I apply it to everything I do. Bad days at work, I'm in the middle of a workout, when I'm trying not to die. And after thinking of all these words, things aren't too bad. Really, it could be anything. I could stub my toe and just, it hurts so bad. And I just say those 4 verses and everything feels better. So I want to pass this on to the hearing community here. Each one of you has the ability to go deaf. How do you do it, though? How can I take what Otto taught me and pass it on to all of you? So I'm assuming most of you are engineering and STEM students here. So I'll just use a very simple, probably 4th grade level, where you simply just multiply. So you all have factors going on in your lives, whether it be your family, your friends, significant others, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, the weather, traffic that day on your commute, anything. We all have several factors going on in our lives every day. So go ahead and multiply all those factors by 2, and they increase and they jump very quickly. So that could cause a lot of unnecessary stress. And it can happen to you and to other people. So all you have to do is multiply it by 0. All of your stress multiplied by 0 equals 0. So it has to go away. So today I want you all to find your 0. Find your silent night. The outcome being that you're going to go deaf. Again, every one of you is on a journey every day. As a student, photographer, entrepreneur, the janitor, a parent, brother, a sister. And each of your experiences, you just have, those types of days. Anything can come up, So how can we constantly go deaf every day? When things start to kick up a little bit of dust, just multiply by 0. Say those 4 lines: silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, and then everything just seems better. So when you do that, find your 0, find your silent night, you're going to be able to go deaf. And I'm not literally saying become deaf. There's no fancy research finding, concept, theory, doctoral dissertation on it. It's just an approach, a view on things. And I've been lucky enough for the past 25 years of my life to grow up through deaf eyes. And I've been able to see people go deaf every day. So I wanted to share that with you all once again. Find your 0. Find your silent night. And then go deaf. And when that happens, you're going to be able to go above and beyond all of the horizons. Thank you.